John Mosepele. I'm a watcher and a gatekeeper. I'm not alone. In the studio, I'm with Advocate Sabelo Sibanda.
Hi, how are you doing?
We want to talk to the teachers who feels pressured to take these experimental vaccines. Advocate, if the teachers in our country find themselves in a corner, being pressed, being pushed at all costs to take this experimental injection, what must they do?
The most important thing, firstly, is for them to know their rights. Because one of the things that is affecting a lot of our people is a lack of knowledge. People perish for lack of knowledge, and that is what is happening. So it's important for them to equip themselves with the knowledge of the Constitution. Section 12C of the Constitution very clearly says that everyone has the right to bodily and psychological integrity. And this right includes not, I emphasize, not to be subjected to medical or scientific experiments without their consent. We are in a situation where a global experiment is going on in the name of COVID-19 vaccinations. So our teachers have to know that you have a right to say no on the basis that the Constitution says you should not be experimented upon. It's up to you to decide. Look, the most important thing, Pastor John, is that for those who decide, I have enough information and I want to go through with this, we are not saying they should stop. It's their right as well to go through with it. But it's also the right of those who do not want their bodies to be used for experimentation to say no. The Constitution is a broad framework. This particular 12.2c of the Constitution is given life to by the National Health Act. Section 6, 7, and 8 covers what is required for there to be informed consent. So, teachers, it's very important that for us to be able to sit here and talk is because of you, the teachers, and we thank you for that. May I encourage you to go and read up on these laws that we are talking about, because the law actually says you have a right to refuse. Even if you leave home and you think, yes, I'm going through with this, next thing you see the needle and you want to go home, you have a right to get up and go home without suffering any repercussions in as far as your employment is concerned. And further, teachers, you have a right to insist upon the Department of Education taking responsibility for anything that may go wrong should you decide to go through with the process. You have a right basically to ensure that you are totally protected. So, Pastor John, the basic message is that currently there is no legislation that has been gazetted in South Africa that makes vaccination mandatory. Which basically means, in a nutshell, there is no law that can give anyone a right to force you to get vaccinated. And the most important thing as well, Pastor John, is that even if there was legislation that forces vaccination, for an experiment it cannot work, because an experimental procedure, an experimental medication is not vaccine. So even if a law says, yes, we have a right to make vaccines basically to be administered under duress, that can only work when there is a vaccine. But now there is no vaccine for COVID-19, however, which way. Even if they were to sit in Parliament today and say, mandatory vaccination for COVID-19, it will not work until there is a COVID-19 vaccine. And there is nothing that they can do which will not violate the Constitution for them to say they are forcing us to participate in an experiment.
And this applies also to miners, to general workers, to every employee in every company.
It applies to everyone, even in light of the latest directive. And note, it's important for people to note this as well. A directive is not a gazetted law necessarily. As long as that directive is in violation of the Constitution of South Africa and it's in violation of the National Health Act, it's not.
You get a memorandum from the director of the department at your work that there will be vaccination. It's not law. It's not law,
Pastor. It's not law. The memorandum must itself be premised upon the law. There must be a law that says Section 12(2)(c) of the Constitution does not apply anymore before anyone can be forced. And there must be a law that says Section 6, 7, and 8 of the National Health Act have been repealed. Therefore, we can do what we want. But those laws don't exist for as long as I am aware.
There you get it. You have it. You cannot be forced by your supervisors, your superior, your bosses to vaccinate, especially with these experimental injections by any means or by force. You have the right, know them, and take a stand upon them.
And further to that, Pastor John, sorry, just in closing, there are documents that have been made and created to assist you. Those documents are available that you can take to your employers, take to the doctor, take to anyone who is insisting that you should be vaccinated. They've got all the necessary questions and they've got all the issues about liability. They have to accept liability and they have to answer your questions. Thank you.
For more information, you will see on the screen the administration at Watchers, information at Watchers, where you can get these forms and this extra information. We are with you, we are on your side, and we love you, and we are Watchers and Gatekeepers.
Thank you.